For more insight, we are joined by Makram Rabah, History Department Lecturer at the American University of Beirut. He is also the author of Conflict on Mount Lebanon, the Druze, the Maronites, and Collective Memory. Hello, Dr. Rabah. So please tell us more regarding, this comment, because President Joe Biden has offered Israel so-called all inappropriate means of support. There are fears out there that this unequivocal support will induce more violence in the coming days. What's your take on that?
Well, the whole approach of the Biden administration, as well as the entire American involvement in the Arab-Israeli conflict, has reconfirmed that most of the problems now are because the U.S. administration has not approached this conflict as a mediator, but rather has sided with the Israeli side every time we have a conflict. And unequivocally, Biden will send money, and he will send ammunition and even troops if needed. However, I think that superpowers, and particularly U.S., should lead all political efforts to put a final end to this conflict by not empowering the idea of violence and the use of force to solve conflicts, but rather to put people around one table and to discuss sustainable peace, which is at the moment not a priority of neither Biden or Netanyahu.
Well, as conflict between Lebanon's Hezbollah and Israel sparks up as well, are you fearful of wider conflicts breaking out between Israel and other opposing factions in the region?
Well, certainly all eyes are on the southern border with occupied Palestine, and the fact that Hezbollah at any moment might be ordered by Tehran to join in the fight is a plausible scenario. However, I think that the problem is that the Biden administration, as well as the European nations, have empowered Iran, and it gotten it to a point where it has allowed people like Hamas to go on the offensive. And this is actually something that will plunge the entire region in more and more conflict. The fact that Hezbollah are vigilant and will join the battle is something which we don't really need to discuss, because most of the tactics that Hamas are using right now are developed by Hezbollah. The real issue is, should we continue to endorse this idea that using violence is rewarded by politics, or should we put an end to the continuing efforts of Iran and all superpowers to hijack nations such as Lebanon, Syria, and even Palestine to use it as a weapon in the ongoing struggle?
Well, what has been changed the most in terms of the region's political landscape since 1973, though?
Well, unfortunately, ever since Henry Kissinger was leading the talks for peace, one very big fault of the U.S. administration and the international community, that it wanted to put an end to the Arab-Israeli conflict without taking into consideration what the Palestinians want. Just like Kissinger did in 1973, the Trump administration tried to do with the Abrahamic Accords, and by trying to normalize with a wider Arab region, and they simply forgot people who are suffering in Gaza and in the West Bank, who simply want to live in a sustainable state called Palestine. Until this is addressed, I think nothing will change for the next 50 years.
Okay, thank you so much for your insights, Dr. Makram Rabah, lecturer of Department of History at the American University of Beirut.